Okay. I am going to be talking to you today about the troubleshooting circuits. And we're going to start by I'm going to go through the notes with you so that you understand what they are about. And then we're going to practice troubleshooting some circuits. So first, the way this is broken out is into categories. And so each category has a question as you go down. So the first one we're going to look at is, does it have one battery or more than one battery? If it has, you're going to start with one battery to start with. And is it connected at the positive and negative ends? Because remember, it has to be touching both for it to work. And also remember that 9 volts have the positive and negative at the top. Okay. If for some reason you should have more than one battery, 2, 3, whatever, you need to look at orientation, meaning how are they positioned? And are the positive and negative touching? Remember, if you end up with negative and negative or positive and positive, they are not going to work. And are the wires connected at both ends? Except for a 9 volt, they need to be connected at the positives and the negatives. Okay, moving on to your wires. Are they connected to all the components? Are they touching all the components? And are all the wires whole, meaning they're not uncut, they're complete, they go from one thing to the other, dragging your finger across it like a little maze. The components, which are the lights, the speakers, the motors, the thermal piece, whatever is connected in the circuit. And are the wires connected in 2 separate places? Remember, we can't have them connected in the same spot because if we do, then we create a short circuit. Okay. Are the components unbroken and working? Now, you don't necessarily know if they are broken or not unless they show like shattered glass or pieces hanging out, or they tell you in the story that it's broken. And lastly is that short circuit. That's the one where we made the battery blow up that y'all thought was so cool. But what happens is you end up with a circuit with no components on it for the energy to run through. And so you need to just trace over your lines and see if there is any point where you don't have power running through a component. And then that's going to run you into a short circuit. Okay, so these are your notes, and now we're going to use the other sheet that the sub passed out to you to take, and we're going to practice this. So what I need for you to do first is on this sheet, you are going to, hang on, I got to get to where you can see the whole thing. You're going to fold on the dark lines and cut on the dotted lines. So you should fold this in half on the dark line. And then you should cut with your scissors on the dotted line. So you're not going to cut all the way through, you're going to cut to the dark line. So when you're done, you should have 3 flaps that open. If you want to, while you're waiting, you can take and draw a black line using the top of one of the flaps. So then you have 3 sections. And we're going to take notes in this in just a minute. So if the sub needs to give you time to cut these and fold them, she can pause and then come back to me when you're ready. Okay, you should be back. And so now we're going to practice the troubleshooting. So we're going to start with circuit number 1. And we're going to go through our checklist. So the first thing we need, and I'm writing in pink, but I do want you to write in this. I'm writing in pink so it stands out on my notes, but I do expect you to write this. So first we're going to look. How many batteries do we have? We have one battery. Okay. And so we're going to look, is it connected at the positive and negative ends? Here's the positive. Yes. Here's the negative. Yes. Okay. We don't have more than one battery, so we're not going to do those questions. We have wires. So the wire's connected to the component. So look at my wire. It's connected right there. Yes. This wire, it's connected right there. Yes. Okay, so the connections are complete. They're hooked up to it. Are the wires complete and uncut? So I'm going to trail along the wire. That one's uncut. That one's uncut. And then next I'm going to look at the components. I have 2 light bulbs. So are the wires connected in 2 places? Here's one place. There's not a second place. So that's a problem. This one, there's one place. And again, there's not a second place. That's a problem. Even though I found a problem, we're going to check everything else. I have 2 light bulbs. They do not seem to be broken. And then I trace my wires, and everywhere my wire has to go through something. So there is no short circuit in my battery. So the only problem I have here is the fact that these are not connected right now. These need a wire between them. And so on the inside, we're going to write a problem solution. So my problem with my circuit is the 2 lights are not connected by a wire. That's my problem. So the solution would be to connect both lights in a second place using a wire. So, for example, I have a light bulb, and I have my light bulb, and I had a wire coming in here, and a wire coming in here. What I need to do is connect a wire here and here, and we're set. So I'm going to leave that open for just a second and the subcomposite and make sure that you have what you need. And then we'll move on. Actually, I'm going to have to switch to a second video.